Now I ain't slept in a couple nights, about a couple weeks to be more precise. He got dice on his brain, rolling in flames, fucking thing melted.
Hi, nomads, hello, party people, hello, strangers, everywhere across the internet and all that jazz. So, new episode of Nomadic Reviews. Originally I said I was going to try and do an anime-inspired review for it, but then I remembered I have a video plan for my animation channel that I'm in the middle of getting the final things of the credits down for it, so I don't have to worry about that. So instead, I decided to follow up on something people have been talking about here and there about this show that I had no idea about because the original premise of it seemed a little bit weird from how the trailers portrayed it as. Then I sat down and watched it, and then I realized that this is going to be the second episode of going back in time, where the first one was set in 1984, and now this one is being set in 1977, with Netflix's The Get Down. Now, I know how weird this might be, where it's just like we go from the 80s to the 70s, and what is Netflix doing to myself was making my whole psyche go in that whole weird split of decades, into a good way. Because with the 80s, it's hit or miss, because a lot of the music I hated from the 80s, but I love the movies that were in the 80s. Where it's the opposite effect of the 70s. I love 70s music a lot, except for disco. Disco will always suck a dick. But the movie franchise is kind of iffy with me, where it has to be good 70s movies for me to like it. But that's beside the point. We're getting back on topic by focusing on the main things about the show, The Get Down, where it's a show that was, from what I remember, produced and helped financed by Nas and Grandmaster Flash, deemed as one of the best DJs in history and one of the greatest rappers of all time, and pretty much being founded on by Baz Luhrmann, man that does so much loud, creatively fantastic movies that I'm astonished that he's not ruled as one of the best directors of this new generation of filmmakers. So, with all that praise out of the way, what is the show about? Well, in 1977, there is a young man by the name of Ezekiel Figueroa, or Zeke, or later known as Books. He's an aspiring poet with a natural talent, but won't do much with his gift. Along the other lines, there is a young man by the name of Shao, known on the street as the Shao Fantastic, one of the best graffiti artists, and this one guy that runs with gang members, such as the family of Fat Annie. Not calling her fat, that's just what her street name is. It's stupid, it's immorally dumb, it's mob mentality at its finest. And to make the entire thing go into a big old triangle, shut the fuck up thing. To make the entire thing into a giant triangle, we then have to include Zeke's love interest of Mylene, who wants to be the disco queen that will usurp Misty Holloway. Whatever. So, with those three intertwining storylines, how do they come together in a story based in the 70s where it has disco, it has the beginnings of hip-hop in the streets, it has all these mob mentality stuff in the Bronx or all throughout New York of how there were blackouts, there were shifty politicians, there were mass killings, there was big drug distributions. How does that culminate into a big story with those three intertwining factors? Well, there are political figures such as Mylene's tío of Papa Fuerte or Francisco Fuerte, who is trying to build houses for the Bronx for his people. The disenfranchised, the ones in the slums, the ones that can't get what the upper crust in Manhattan get. You know, the privileged lives that everyone aspires to get when they move to New York. And we also have politicians such as Ed Conch and the current mayor, whose name I always forget, who are battling to see who will take charge of New York to fix whatever they want to fix for their own twisted means. Along those lines, we also have graffiti artists and subplots here and there that kind of culminate into each storyline, since the niche pin in that storyline is part of Zeke and Mylene's story, who also intertwine with Xiao's. See, this is a show where you have to piece together all of who's what and how they affect that particular storyline of the three characters in the triangle. Because every known side character, supporting cast member, all culminate into what these three characters want to do throughout the rest of the tale. As narrated by an older Zeke, so no matter what happens in the show, we all know that Zeke is going to be fine. What is the end goal for the entirety of the cast is kind of a big mystery. Because majority of the people in the show are just brand new actors. They were picked up on the street, handpicked by a lot of different executives, and had special training from Nas and Grandmaster Flash in hip hop boot camp to make sure that their stuff was on point, on fire. Everything was lit to the T. Something I wish I could do right now so I could get back to 100% with all of my lyricism for singing, and then maybe try and get back into rapping when I get some stuff settled. Regardless, the whole feel of the show feels like that whole 70s romp that you really did love. If you love the encapsulation of how the 70s had the vibe, the jive, the groove, the insanity, and the fluctuation of everything around you going from good to bad to being a whiplash into every single direction in a 360-degree spin. This is a show that will get your mind and your own heart just racing at every single possibility. Who is the person that's going to come up next? Is this person going to die in the next episode? Is that person going to suffer a great deal? Who is going to do what? You'll have no idea what's going to come out from any which way. And that is kind of what draws a lot of people into the show. For the 6 episodes that we have for the first season alone, that range for a full-on hour at best to an hour and a half at certain points. This show packs in so much that you could just watch 3 episodes today and feel like you watched the best movie of the year, in my own opinion. Because there are people that would say, it's so long, the music is not my thing, that guy that's rapping with the giant fro can't spit the rhymes I could. Guys, take it from a retired rapper. You have to literally practice your craft no matter if you're talented or not talented, whether you have the gift or you squander it and have it rust over. When you have something where it's trying to be developed and blossom, you have to have good mentors to make sure that you have something that can be developed further. And this is just their first season. And they're still being taught by Nas and Grandmaster Flash. So to all of you wannabe rappers out there that would watch the show and complain, tell me, what big rapper is teaching you how to rap right now? What big star in hip-hop history is teaching you how to spit bars? Are you being catered to go to hip-hop boot camp by these people to get better at your shit, to then also learn from them after the camp to make sure your craft is finite and refined into smooth wine so you can get back on that grind? Hell no, you ain't. Cause to me, your own bars just stank, bruh. But enough of that. Cause I don't want to be the whole rapping thing that's just whack. So, let me get back to the flow. Stop. Guess just can't get the fucking beat to drop. Whoa, I need to stop right here because I get the whole fear that I'm gonna spit some bars and get in the. Stop.
Oh, just take it easy, man.
Sorry about that. So anyway, as I calm my nerves, the gripping aspect of the show kind of culminates into how you would feel if you were part of that decade. And I don't mean like what you are today. I mean like if you were to trace back to, if you're, in my own opinion, someone that believes in past lives, how you would feel about whatever you would have been in the 70s and how you would have probably felt in those situations. For being in New York during the 70s, where we had blackouts, we had mobsters selling drugs to kids, where we had gang violence in the streets of every borough that wasn't Manhattan. where you didn't know if you were going to live or die any day of the week, and where you were being prosecuted for just being an artist, painting anything, a tunnel, a train, any sort of thing. What would you actually feel in that decade? It empowers you to think that. It empowers you to just imagine yourself in their placement, to find out what you want to do with how you want to feel in that scenario. Because the main characters are important, sure, but they're just your template for how you would want to feel in their place. Not a lot of shows do that properly, but the get down for how it was directed, how it was produced, how the people acted, how it was felt, and how every single line was so powerful and moving. It makes you feel that. Cause, yeah, there was 70s music here and there, and a Lady Gaga cameo where she was singing in a gay club, and all this sort of stuff, and apparently some sex scenes happen here and there to just make you guys try and look that up. But in its core, it is a fantastic show. It is a great series. If it gets a second season, I will watch it and then review the second season as well. But for what the first season has done, and how it leaves so much open-ended stuff that we have to settle on, that I can't get into because this is a spoiler-free review if you guys did not read the title of the video, I would say that it has a giant promise to be something of a powerhouse in any sort of hip-hop show. It outdoes Empire by a long mile, in my own opinion. It outdoes anything that involves drama with hip-hop at any degree, because it balances the groove of the disco with the uprise of hip-hop in a giant culminating manner that only this show could possibly do. With the actors that's given, with the characters that it's created, with all of these powerful people just lending their strengths to form something this finite, this impressive, this crystallizing of beauty and wonderment. So that being said, we're just going to get into the rating system of the Devil May Cry era, of giving this an S for superior and giving it a 12.2 out of 13. Mostly because I hate disco. That's the only reason why I'm only giving it a 12.2. I hate disco. And also, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect because no show is ever perfect. So, after this episode of Nomadic Reviews, what am I tackling next? How about we do some Penny Dreadful? Would you guys like that? If not, I'll host a poll on Twitter, so you guys can check that out at twitter.com/thepyramidinn. I'll put up a poll of 3 choices for you guys of Penny Dreadful, Peaky Blinders, or The Between. Mostly because, why the fuck not? It's still Netflix week for me until I get all the stuff settled for Nomadic Reviews for some other stuff I got planned for you. So make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed my energy and how I gave this thing my all. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe today and become a nomad, because it's just a giant family here. It's just love, support, and caring about one another. Not that whole tearing each other down to do some drama. So, peace and take care, my lovely little nomads out there. I'll see you next time. To all my party people out there, keep on grooving. And to my strangers out there, seriously, if you enjoy the video, if you enjoy the person I am, and you want to see how this whole journey goes, please join the family. You won't regret it. But anyway, bye guys.
Has a moment of weakness, sure, and I'm bringing that moment forward to you the moment I'm creeping, ceasing all your endeavors with every word that I'm speaking, watching the world burn with what I learned from life's teaching, touching Eminem speaks as a sin, I'm going to hell for it, speech with a flow, never been seen by no veteran MCs with a show up, cause all I see are impediments, reaching off of a wave, you are bringing shame to my melody, till I collapse, I'm letting it rat it, everyone's spitting, every day I'm leaving this rap to clap, all y'all positions I'm back, with a list of these whack niggas that spitting the Mac, will smack the future out of every one of y'all writtens, hate to admit it, but this genre of mine is looking embarrassing, a bunch of confused fools, a crew of Mr. Garrisons, I'm mad at this, cause they can't suffice.